Hey guys, real quick before we view the rest of this video, this is Ebony and Ivory from Devil May Cry. Now these templates here, the ones that I will be using throughout the video, these here were supplied by Blind Squirrel Props. I did not make these templates, he did. He's a really cool guy. Go ahead and shoot over to his site. He's got some really cool stuff. He's really good at what he does. He let me use these. Like I said, I'll post the information below. Right here, maybe I can do some magic. This is his website. Go to it. Really cool. But yeah, so just letting you know. Now on to the video. Hey guys, it's Morphs Props. Today what we're gonna make are the Devil May Cry pistols. You got Ivory here, and then you got Ebony. Pretty much how we're gonna start these is I found these templates online. I will give credit to who made these templates. I did not make these myself. Unfortunately, I'm still learning how to do that. But I will give credit for this. But basically, I found these templates online. I printed them out to the right size that I wanted. I did print these out before, and I held the paper in my hands, and it had a pretty good feel to it, so I had the right size. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to transfer these onto a 3/4 inch MDF board. You can see it's a little bit heavier. So how I'm actually going to do that is I'm actually taking old carbon paper. This is basically like ink paper, some people call it, or transfer paper, whatever you want to call it. I call it carbon paper, and there's carbon paper below this. You can kind of see it right there. And I taped it to where I want them. And now all I'm going to do is basically I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to trace the outline of the entire two pistols here, and that will take this picture and transfer it onto my MDF board. And after I get that on there, I'm going to cut out the basic shape of the pistol, and then we'll start giving it some shape and some dimension to it. So, alright, go ahead and get all this printed out and transfer it onto your wood. Alright, as you can see on this one, I traced everything out onto the MDF board. The darker line of what you see here is actually what I'm going to physically cut out of it. This one you can see I've already cut it. This is actually just lines up just like that, and you can see this is what I cut. All the extra little all the little extra trim pieces, obviously that will be made later. The bottom piece, the trigger guard, the trigger, the sights, the hammer, all that will be made later. All this. So go ahead and get the basic gun form cut out. Go ahead and do that. Hey guys, like I said, where I left off, I was going to start giving the gun some shape. So what I've done here is, obviously you can see it was square, so I took a 1/8 inch router bit and I just kind of set it up. You do have to adjust the height and depth. That's kind of up to you guys. I'll leave that to you. But I just rounded off the edges on both the guns, you can see. And then they were a little rough yet, so I put them on my belt sander and I just kind of real quick just smoothed them out just to give them a nice rounded edge. Now what I'm going to do on this one, you can see I've already done on this one, is you can see I cut the edges off right here. Leave this part alone, just this part. Because that's actually part of the gun, not shaped out. So I cut all this around. Again, I used let's see here. This one actually, I used a 1/2 inch 45 degree bit. And again, same thing. I set up on my router table. I just kind of zipped it out. Both sides, obviously, you can see how it works. Just kind of give you an idea. And that, just to give the gun a little bit more detail to it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out the back for the hammer, for the thumb guard, I guess you call it, I'm not sure. For the trigger and the trigger guard, I'm going to take my router, my handheld router, not my router table, my handheld router, and kind of cut into the MDF here and cut the notches out so I can take and shape everything and slip it into place. So alright, that's what I'm going to do. Go ahead and get that done. Alright guys, where I left you off last is I was cutting these out and I was going to start these trim pieces here. As you can see, I got the hammer done and the trigger done on both of them. What I'm working on right now is the trigger guard and the little thumb guard. If I go in real close here, you can actually see that I went ahead and cut the center slot here, and the little, what I'm going to call the rivet spots here, and I started to drill this one out. I ran into a problem, so I kind of stopped, and I'll show you on this one. What I did, basically, I'll have to redo this one, but I drilled this out. Make sure you drill, make sure you drill the front first. As you can see, I messed up, and I'll explain that in a second. But go ahead and drill the center hole out. I went in, I don't know, it's probably back into about here somewhere, but drill that out first, then drill this hole, and then mark where you want those to be cut, and then cut that notch out. Now, what I did wrong is I accidentally drilled this first and started cutting this notch. And also, when you're cutting this notch out, be very careful because the MDF board is pretty weak. So you can see mine actually broke off, so I had to go ahead and repair that, but that's besides the point. So what I did on this one, as you can see, I started cutting it, but on the front here, I actually put a little epoxy glue on there to help strengthen that up, so when I'm cutting it, that won't break out. But yeah, go ahead and drill this hole, and then to cut these little notches out, all I took was, let me grab it here, is this. It's what they call a little tiny razor saw. You can see it's a real fine blade on that. And I just set this up in my vise, not this, my gun in the vise, and I real slowly worked that, and I cut that out. So go ahead and get that done. This notch here, I'm going to redo. I kind of messed up on it, so ignore that for now. But I'm going to fill this back in and redo it, and when I get there, I'll show you what I'm going to do. Actually, I could show you right now. What this is a piece that goes on my Dremel tool. I'll hook it up to the Dremel tool, and this will adjust the depth of how far the bit can go into the wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up on my Dremel tool, get my little grabber here. This basically is just a little ball cutter. So I'm going to set this up in my Dremel tool, and then I'm going to readjust my depth to how far I want it. And then I'm going to set this up in a jig, clamp this down more than likely, and then I'll have, just as this example, I have this running straight. So then when I take this will go up against that straight edge, and I'll zip it all the way down and out. So that way you don't have to worry about your line basically doing like you can see here, where it's kind of messed up. So your line won't weave back and forth. So, okay, anywho, back to what I was saying. Oh, real quick, also these little points here, those are done with Forstner bits. You can see my Forstner bits. All that is, as you can see, they just kind of do like that first picture there. They just kind of flat cut them out, and they actually worked out quite well. So, okay, go ahead and get, like I said, those routed out. Go ahead and start forming your triggers and that everything. All of these triggers it's a real thin plastic. Let me grab a scrap piece here. This is just some scrap plastic. This is 3/8 inch thick plastic that I went ahead and I just traced it out from the template onto the plastic, cut it out, and then I shaped it. And then I went ahead and epoxied those into place. And you can see that's pretty much all it is. So, okay, now that I explained all that to you, yeah, go ahead, get your pieces cut out and put on there. Go ahead and get this cut out and done. This, like I said, I'll redo and I'll show you what we got. Real quick, I'm just going to show you this to you. This piece here is actually going to form the trigger guard. It's the same plastic that I used to form the trigger and the hammer. All I did here is I took 3 pieces and I'm currently gluing them together, so that'll give me the right width across here that I will need. So go ahead and get your plastic glued together, and then we'll take the trigger guard and we'll trace it onto here, and then we'll cut all that out and we'll get that put on the gun and have that piece done. So, alright. Hey guys, like I said, where I was at, I got the trim pieces done, and I was going to start cutting out these center slots. And I told you I was just going to rig up a jig, and this is pretty much what I got here. You can see it's simply 2 blocks of MDF board that I have just quickly nailed together. And what I've done is you'll set this here, obviously this is square and this is square, so that's nice and even. And then this I adjusted so I can get a nice straight cut here. And then all I did is I took my Dremel tool and I put my depth gauge onto it. I set it on there with the right depth. Kept that tight up against that and just ran it down, and that'll give you a nice a straight line there for that. Yeah, so go ahead and get that done. Okay guys, so where I left you last is we were cutting out these side slots. As you can see, we got that done, and what I've done now is I made the side pieces here for the gun. All I did is, again, I took my template and I traced it out onto some plastic I had lying around. This is actually .06 thick plastic. If you guys watch my Buster Sword, this is the same plastic, or my first release, this is the same plastic that I like to use. So I went ahead and cut out